Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 66 of the Very Fun Yarns podcast. Welcome to my channel here on YouTube. If you are new, thanks for coming to check the channel out. And if you are returning, thank you so very much for coming back. So if you're new here, my name is Tanya. I'm coming to you from Southeast Minnesota. My family and I run a fruit farm that specializes in, well, it used to be strawberries, but pretty much now it's Concord grapes and naturally dyed yarn. We also grow small amounts of blackberries and raspberries and elderberries, other small fruits that we sell at the farmer's market, and I make into jam and other goodies. So it has been about a month since I have come to you last. I will tell you more about life update later on. So if you're interested in that and what's been up with me, you can stay tuned for a little bit later. But I need to get right into finished objects because the one that I'm wearing is making me very hot and sweaty. So I am wearing my petite knit novice cardigan. I was going to look up the name of it, but I remembered. It is called the Novice Cardigan Mohair Edition. And let me back you up for a second so that I can show you the sweater. All right, I am very hot, but this is a cardigan. The color does not show off very lovely on the screen, but it is made with angel fingering, which is my fingering base that is a combination of cashmere, silk, and alpaca. I believe it's 70% alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. Anyway, it is very hot. So it is a fingering weight yarn that I have held double with the mohair. So you can see the fluff there on it. It is a yoke construction. So you start up at the top, you do the yoke construction, and then you put the sleeves on hold. And then you knit the rest of the way. You come back and you pick up the button bands, and you had the buttons and whatnot. So anyway, I'm going to take it off now because I am roasting. You would not think this fingering weight with mohair would be super warm, but whew, it is a hot one. Let's put you back where you should be here. I finished this a week and a half ago, I want to say. So I'll maybe throw in some other pictures of me wearing it, but it's a nice sweater. I should really love it, but I am not loving it right now, and I will tell you why. I mean, I'm sure I will wear it when I'm not sweating. It is not hot out here, but it is not super cold. It is probably 50, but the sun is shining, and as is somebody nearing the age of 50, I get hot often. So right now it is not cold enough for me to wear it, but I love the buttons I put on there. I want to see the buttons up close. They're little like flower wooden buttons that I got in Australia when I was there with my husband in 2019. So those turned out perfect. But I think I have decided I don't love the yoke construction of a garment unless it is a part of color work. I don't know, there's just something about how it sits on my body that I don't love. And this color, the intention of the sweater was to have a really simple kind of all-purpose cardigan to wear on top, whether it was something more formal or something a little more casual. I could wear it up or wear it down, and I do think I succeeded in that. But yeah, so I digressed. I'm a little distractible these days, but the reason I don't love the yoke partly is because of how it sits on my body, but also a non-knitter would not notice this, but if you look really closely, do you see this row right here? Even after blocking, I can see the increase row. When you do a yoke construction, top down, when it's color work, I cannot see that because the color work kind of disguises the increases. But how it works, if you've never made a sweater before with yoke construction, you have kind of a lot of increases all on one row, and then you just knit, and then you have a lot of increases, and then you just knit. So the extensive amount of increases without the color work, I feel like it just sort of shows up too much, and I just don't like that. So anyway, that's just my deal, nobody else's. But it's good to learn these things about ourselves as we make knits, because you learn what you like and what you don't like, and sometimes you don't know what you don't like until you make it and you're like, well, maybe that's not my favorite. So anyway, I finished that last Tuesday, so that would have been, by the way, today is today is Wednesday, October 29th. So I finished this last week, almost a little more than a week ago, the 21st. And then I blocked it and I dried it and all that jazz. And then I went on a retreat last weekend from Thursday through Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We came back Sunday. And it was a knitting retreat, obviously. Here, I didn't tell you this whole story. And I was like, I'm going to cast on another sweater, because wouldn't it be fun, famous last words, wouldn't it be fun to knit a whole sweater while I was gone on the retreat? Alas, I did knit a whole sweater while I was gone on the retreat. So let me show you that one. This is the Alanis sweater. You can see some garter edging here, and there's some garter here. It is short sleeves, but it kind of hits me right here. It has a cute little split hem at the bottom with garter, but I love this one, and I did knit it in 3 days. So the story of this sweater was that it is called the Alanis, Alanis, by Elizabeth Smith. It is an Aran weight short sleeve sweater that you just kind of wear on top. It has great air conditioning for those of us who get hot every once in a while. So it's really warm on your chest here in this area, but you don't get the full warmth of the whole arm. So I think I'm going to like it a lot and wear it a lot. But I had this sweater in my queue for a long time, at least a year and a half. And I had actually tried casting on with a different yarn last year, and I couldn't quite get the gauge for it. So I set it aside. And then I was sorting my very fun yarns, doing inventory as one does. And I came across this. This is my BFL Superwash base. And I had 4 skeins of this really pretty dark, it's called Doubleberry Milkshake colorway. And I was like, I wonder if that I could use to make the Alanis. And at first I thought I was going to hold mohair with it, because often I'm a loose knitter. So sometimes, I can do that. I can make thicker yarn to get to use the same needle size recommendation, get the gauge and everything. Well, I did swatch. I had this really purple, let me see if I have it here, really purple. I had dyed this really deep purple mohair, and I thought, I could hold that double. And it did look really pretty with it. However, the gauge for this pattern is 19 stitches over 4 inches, and I was getting only 16 with the recommended needle size. Now, I liked the fabric I was getting with the mohair and the BFL Superwash, but it wasn't going to work because I was already, if you've ever done sweaters before, you may know that if your gauge is off, you can do some math, and you can often knit a smaller size and then still achieve the same size. So if there had been a smaller size than the smallest size, I could have knit a smaller size, and then my gauge would have just made up the difference to give me the full, I think I wanted like 42 inches or something like that. So this sweater, you can kind of see it has a fair bit of positive ease. I think it's recommended 6 to 10 inches. And my bust is about a 35. So the smallest size, I believe, was a 40. So it would have given you 40 inches finished. Well, I did not. I tried at first to do the math and go down, but I actually think that my gauge was even looser than I measured it. Because, you know, when you make the little swatch, the reason that people always say your gauge swatch lies is because when you start doing it in a big fabric, it's different than when you have a small piece. So anyway, I am rambling here. Long story short, I decided to take out the mohair and to just try to gauge swatch with the single strand of the BFL. And when I did that, I was very, very close to the recommended gauge of 19 stitches per 4 inches. So I was like, yes, perfect. But then I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to have enough yarn, because I think the pattern for my size said 794 yards or something like that. And I had about 740 yards or 730 yards, something like that. It was very close. So my first time I cast on, I did the bottom ribbing. So this bit here, because it's a bottom up, I did it in this accent color. You can kind of see, here you can see a little better. It's just kind of a lighter blackberry color, kind of a grayish purple. So I knit the whole big chunk in that color. And then I started to knit up. And when I got up to the top, I did try it on when I seamed, because you go all the way to the top, you do this shaping here, and then you seam it. And I guess it's a 3-needle bind off. So I did that all. I tried it on. Number one, I didn't like where the garter bit hit on my belly. So I decided I was going to make it longer. And number two, I didn't like the big, huge chunk of the contrast color. So what I did was I finished the sleeves to make sure I had enough, and then I weighed my yarn and compared that to how much yarn I had used in the contrast color for the bottom already to see if I would have enough. And I definitely had enough plus some. So then I did a little math and decided I was going to make the bottom edging, so this bit, it was supposed to be like 4 inches in the back and 3 inches in the front. And I decided, number one, that was too long. I wanted more stockinette. So I did about 2 inches extra of the stockinette, and then I did only like 2 to 2.5 inches, I think, of the garter bottom. So basically, I ripped out the whole thing. I actually literally cut it. I ripped it all out, and then I re-knit it from the top down, so the bottom going down. And then, so this was a whole, of course, my lovely friends who were at the retreat with me, at every step I would try it on. I would ask their opinion, and then I would continue forward. So that was great, because sometimes you need another person's opinion. So anyway, I did that, and then in the end, this bit here, I didn't really love. One, I thought the neck was a little big. Part of that was my fault. Later, I realized that you were supposed to go down a needle size when you did the neck edging. But the way they had you cast off or bind off up there, it was different than I had done before, and so my stitches looked kind of sloppy. So what I did is I picked up one row, and then I purled one row, and then I bound off in the knit, and so it kind of looks like an I-cord. Can you see that there? Ignoring my crazy. So it kind of looks like an I-cord, which is great. So then I decided I was going to do that on the other edges too, and I really love how that turned out. It's just a little bit of an accent, but not a ton. So all that to say, that is a lot of rambling about this sweater that I knit in 3 days. So I cast it on Wednesday before I left, although I ripped out everything that I knit before I left because I redid the bottom, because I had knit like 4 inches around, right? on the bottom that I ripped out. But I knit probably about 12 hours on Thursday and probably 12 hours on Friday, and then maybe like 10 on Saturday. But by Sunday, I didn't really knit much more because my hands kind of hurt and I just sort of needed a knitting break. So I actually left the retreat a little bit early because the retreat house is connected to a scrapbook store area, and I was kind of in the mood to scrapbook because I had gotten some fun paper crafting supplies. So I have been doing that I did that for like a day and a half before I was ready to knit again. But anyway, yes, my Alana sweater, I love it. I was lucky, I did not alternate skeins at all, but I got a really nice even distribution. The dye job that I did was lovely, so that was great. Yeah, I would recommend the pattern. What I will say, I also did not, on the pattern, there are like garter panels here to add a little interest, and there's also a decorative pocket. I chose not to add either of those because I just wanted it real simple. But if you're looking for like an over-the-top short sleeve, extra warmth for wintertime, highly recommend the pattern. It was a pretty easy knit. There was one typo at the very end when I cast off my neck on the top, but hopefully they'll fix that. Okay, so that's the Alanis. So I finished those 2 sweaters. I'm looking up my notes to see what else I wrote down here because it has been a while. So there's a lot of things that I have done since I saw you last. Okay, so the very first thing. So I obviously didn't tell you that in order because the 2 sweaters are 2 of the things I did later on or more recently. But where did I put? Here it is. So I finished my second Twisted Together cowl. So if you've been following me and you did not receive my newsletter at the beginning of October, this is my latest pattern release. This is a lovely cowl. So this is a lovely cowl that just kind of goes, it's pretty close to your neck, but it is also, you could make it, obviously you can stretch it a little more when you block it, or you could knit it at a bit of a looser gauge. But each section, let me take it off again so I can show it to you closer. All right, each section, so in between here that you see in the main, or actually I'm calling that the contrast color. The main color is the bit that you use for the ribbing and then for these double horizontal chain stitch sections. But there are 10 of these contrast color sections, and they all take about 7 to 8 grams. This is a fingering weight project. So they take 7 to 8 grams. So you could use scraps. You could use mini skeins. Or in this case, you could use a like full skein that was like a special skein you wanted to highlight. And then the main color with this darker color you're seeing here is 50 grams total that you need. So it's 150 grams. Very easily, you could stash dive and find things. I think this would also make a really great, it's pretty quick knit, so I think it would make a really great gift for Christmas. But yeah, that is the Twisted Together cowl, and that pattern is now available on Ravelry, in my store there, or you can get it online at my shop, which is fireflyberries.com, which is the name of our farm. So you can go into the shop link under patterns and you will find it there to get a PDF download. So yeah, so that was the Twisted Together cowl that came out just after my side-by-side blanket. And then what else have I finished since I saw you last? I finished a pair of fingerless mittens. I don't have these because I already sent them to my son who is at college. This is my go-to fingerless glove pattern by Donna Kimball that I have made so many of before. I made these in a blue colorway called Letter Writer, and it is in the Ruby and Roses Plump Rose colorway or base, which is an 85-15 fingering weight. My son loves them. He actually, ironically, I had started these thinking I would send him a second pair because he has one pair of them. However, the week before I was just about to finish them, when we had our FaceTime call, he said he could not find his fingerless mittens, and he wanted to know if I had seen them at home. So as of right now, to my knowledge, he has not found his original pair of fingerless mitts, but he does have this pair now to keep him warm. He did say he could use a pair in various colors, one for every day of the week. So I do have a feeling I will be making another pair of these. I'm thinking in green of some sort for him for Christmas. So those were a success. And then my last thing, yes, I have finished 5 things since I've come to you last, is a pair of socks. And these are kind of humongous socks. They are for my big-footed 13-year-old son. And they are wild and crazy. They were intended as Halloween socks, which today is the 29th, so I will have them done in time. I will give them to him as soon as I am done podcasting here. But he loves purple. So this is a really vibrant colorway from Nerdy Knits. There's the tag. It's called Star Drop. It is the neon Star Drop colorway. And I believe this dyer likes to dye colorways based on video games. So that is appropriate because my son does like video games. So this is a fingering weight yarn, but I held a double to get a DK weight. The pattern is called Spooky Kooky Socks, and it is an exclusive pattern by Kay Jones for her Bakery Bear patrons. It's a knit along they're doing during October for Sockoween, but I will say that it is a pretty simple broken rib pattern. And so it's not complicated, and I'm sure you'll see something very similar to this that you could get on Ravelry. So the reason that I have this fancy bit on the bottom is not because I was trying to be overly fancy, but because my kid has really huge feet. And I thought, I wasn't very responsible though, because I did not weigh the yarn, but I thought that I would have enough with 100-gram skein of fingering if I used an extra 20 gram for the heel and for the toe and the cuff, plus a separate one for the heel. So that's 140 grams of fingering yarn. I thought that would be enough. But in the end, I got the whole first sock done without weighing the purple. I should have weighed the purple. Note to future self, weigh the purple. But I got the whole thing done. And then when I got to about here on the second sock, I ran out. So I ripped out, I did this yesterday, I ripped out the first sock back to a little bit farther back than where I was. I weighed the yarn to see kind of what the situation was. I will confess that I did first go online to see if the dyer had any more of this yarn that was available, already dyed, not pre-order. And she did not. It was a 6 to 8 week wait time to order. So I was like, no, that's not going to work. So I ripped back, saving some of the purple, and I used the heel yarn, which is a Sister Weekend yarn. Sister Weekend. It was a mini from Sister Weekend Yarn Company in the Audrey sock. And it is called Mermaid Daydream. So it was a very lovely, sparkly sock yarn. Anyway, so I ended up doing every other row. I did 7 rows of the mermaid colorway from Sister Weekend, and then mixed that in with the purple. And then I had weighed my Sister Weekend yarn before, so I knew I had about 3.5 grams per each sock. So I kept weighing it after every round so that I wouldn't have the same mistake. And then I needed to do 4 more rounds, but I was going to run out of that. So then I just did every other with this really vibrant orangey green, which is not orangey green, yellow green. And this is a Knit Picks mini skein colorway. I do not remember what it is, but yeah. So it worked out good. They fit him good. He tried them on, but they are big socks. He has very wide feet. Like, I think I did 48 stitches on a US 3. I normally do a US 2 at 56 stitches, but I thought it would be nice to have it just not quite as dense. It was easier on my fingers as I knit it. So I do like this US 3 size for DK weight socks, but I think at first I had cast on 56 and it was way too much. So what I ended up doing is I did the 48, and then when I got closer to um, the heel, I had him try it on, and he had a hard time pulling it over his heel because he has a really big heel. So right before I did the heel, I added in 4 extra stitches. So I went up to 52, and I used that for the heel flap and then the gusset until I decreased all the way down, and then I had 48 stitches left for the bottom part of the foot. But yeah, big foot Lincoln for sure. Luckily, his feet have not grown a ton in the last year. They've stayed pretty stable. So I'm hoping he's just going to grow to fit his feet, and his feet won't grow anymore. But yeah, big-footed Lincoln. So that's it. 25 minutes of just finished objects. If you need a potty break or you need a drink break, maybe you should go get one right now. But I do have 1, 2, 3, 4. I do have 4 works in progress, a tiny bit of Very Fun Yarns news, and then I'll give you a quick life update. So what am I knitting besides that? I will have to say I do not have a lot of projects on the needles at the moment. You can see back here, this is where I've decided to keep my project bags. I have some that I'm going to show you down below, but back here is where I keep them. So I have 3 back there. One I have not cast on. It is a pair of Christmas socks that I will cast on once I finish my Halloween socks, or fall socks. And then the other 2 are just projects that I have going that I haven't worked on in a little bit. But all the other things that I have cast on, minus the only one that I'm not showing you, and that's not here, is my Sweet Shop blanket, which I started last Christmas. And I have decided that in November and December, I'm going to pick it up again. And that's going to be kind of like an Advent project for me to work on that. So I'm very excited about doing that. But I want to get a few of these other projects finished before I get there. So let's see. So I will say, without telling you all the details yet of what's been going on in my life, is that it was a very busy grape season for us. I wasn't feeling the greatest, and after I published my last cowl pattern, I published 2 patterns in the middle of grape season. And when I had that all done, I just wanted to make for the sake of making. I just wanted to knit, just wanted to crochet. I did not want to think about, writing a pattern or doing any of those things. But I will say I did design a pattern. I just haven't written it yet because I just couldn't bring myself to sit behind the computer to do that. So hopefully you'll see that in November. But so I just was picking up all the things that brought me joy. And this blanket, whoops, my crochet hook is stuck in the middle. I didn't get super far on it, but I was really enjoying it. So this is the linen stitch blanket. It is crocheted. I'm doing it in DK tweed. And I just kind of used a tutorial from Tony Lipsy, which I will link below. And you can see this little green stitch marker here is where I left off. So I added in some undyed white, and then I did some pink. I really like how this section with the chunk of green and the 2 smaller blues around it really looked. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. I'm going to do a smaller section of blue in between some pink, and then I'm going to do another section of this undyed. So I have blue. This is all the Very Fun Yarns DK Tweed base, which is an 85 superwash merino 15% nylon. That is in the form of the little neps on there. Yeah, and I might have to shut my curtain here. The sun moves so fast now. It is it's only 2 o'clock, and it's already over in the western half of the sky. So yeah, so I went that far. I like it a lot. I really want to finish this. I was originally going to send this to the Welcome Blanket Project, which is a great nonprofit that has blankets and collects them for new immigrants to the United States, which I feel like is really important right now. Just given the state of our country, it's something that I really believed in welcoming immigrants. So I may still send it there. I'm also getting ready to send a package to the Pine Ridge Reservation in, I think it's in South Dakota. And they have a need there. They have a women's shelter with women and their children who are in need of a lot of things as well. So I might send this blanket there for the little ones there, and then make a different one to send off to the Welcome Project. I haven't decided, but they're both good organizations that bring a lot of joy and good things to the people who need them. So unfortunately, there are a lot of needs in our country right now. So that one hopefully won't be too long and I can send it out. I really like it when I don't have too many blankets on the needles, I have decided, or hook in this case. So hoping to finish that one before I really get into my sweet shop blanket for Christmas. Okay, next one is I have a couple pairs of socks. So since I came to you last, I cast on a skein of my Trick or Treat colorway. So this is on the Very Tough Sparkle base. It's kind of orange, very fall orange and purple, some yellows in there. And this is my sock. I've gotten pretty far, actually. I was really in the mood for a little bit, so I kind of zoomed. But here's my sock. You can see I added in a Knit Pick Stroll fingering in the deep purple colorway for the heel. And you have to see this adorable progress keeper I just got. Let's see if I can get it to work. Can you see him? You probably cannot. I may try to take a picture of him because he is adorable. Oh, he is a cute little gnome with a mushroom hat. I got him from Lock and Lou. If you ever have thought of getting like handmade, I believe this is out of clay, progress keepers, she was so quick in sending it, and it is beautiful. Like I know that they seem expensive when you have to pay $14 for a progress keeper, but the work that goes into this, like you can see the toes on this gnome. I will take a picture because the detail is just amazing to me. Anyway, that is my Trick or Treat sock. I am getting very close to my toe. Let's see, do I have my, I don't have it with me, my foot. I would say I have maybe like 2 to 3, probably about 2 inches before I get to the toe. So hopefully I'll finish that soon, and then I can cast on the second one. All right, I'm getting hot again as the sun switches. Let's see if we can try and move this a little. Okay, what's next? What's next? I have a pair of Christmas socks. Now these I have been working on for a little bit. This, by the way, is a Berry Fun Yarns Christmas. This is the medium zipper bag. I don't have very many in the shop right now, but Advent kits come with one in this size that match the Advent Countdown kit, which I will talk about in a little bit. But these are the kind of stripy Christmas socks I was working on. When I came to you last, I was up here. You can see here. So I've done this bit of the leg, and then I'm about halfway done with the heel. So this is done in Knit Picks Felici in the Buddy colorway. Let's see if I can, oh goodness. Hold on. Time out. Ah, I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. I needed to shut my curtains a bit because the sunlight was just becoming a little too much. Okay, so back to my sock. Oh, this is so much better. I can actually see you. Okay, so this is where I was, and this is how much I knit of that, and then I did this. So let me tell you my dilemma about these socks, and I would love your opinion. I may just try it and see what it looks like, but I'm kind of sick of the yarn management. So what I'm doing here, Felici, um, self-striping is what I'm using for the main bit, and then I will knit 2 rows of this and 1 row of black. So I think I have it here. I just have some, I think it's Happy Feet black colorway. And the reason I'm using this, partly because I thought it was kind of fun, and it is fun initially, but also I just had a bunch of this black I had gotten for a sweater at one time, and then I decided I didn't want to make the sweater. So I am kind of tired of the yarn management, and this is only my first sock. So I am debating. I may, when I get down to the foot, I am thinking that perhaps I will not do the black bit, and I will only do the Felici instead. And I think that will look okay because it's the same thing. It just won't have the black in it. And I don't think my husband is going to care. These are for him. He has 1 pair of Christmas socks that he stole from me. So I thought I'd make him his own. And I just think I will be so much more likely to knit on it if I don't have to do the yarn management, because it just doesn't have the flow when you have to switch and then you have to untangle your skeins. And sometimes it doesn't bother me, but lately it's just been like, oof, I can't be bothered to do that. It ruins the flow and the enjoyment of the knit. So anyway, those are my stripy Christmas socks. And I think, oh, thought I lost my needle. I have them in these little, should probably see if I could find a Christmas needle cozy, but I don't know if I have a Christmas needle cozy. Anyway, I want to get those done so that I can give them to my husband, probably for his birthday, which is at the end of November. So I kind of need to get going on those. And, you know, I was thinking about holiday gifts. This is going to be a long episode. And so maybe you might need to watch this, and you might need to watch this in multiple segments. But what I was going to say is I was thinking about Christmas gifts or holiday gifts, and I'm really not making gifts this year per se. I have a pair of socks made for 2 of my kids already. I'm going to make a pair of those fingerless mittens for my other son and a pair of socks for my other son. And then I think I have a pair of socks ready for my husband too. So I have 3 of my 5. I'm only going to make stuff for my family. So I think I just need to finish those Christmas ones. I need to make a pair of fingerless mitts and another pair of socks. So I kind of like to have that done before Thanksgiving, so I probably should get on that. But, you know, as one does, sometimes it doesn't happen and it takes longer. But I have one more project to show you, and this is just something of my own creating. It is not complicated at all. My oldest child, I usually ask my kids, is there something that you need for the winter season about this time of year? Because if there is, I want to make it for them, right? Something woolly is usually what I say. If it's a sweater, like my 13-year-old really wants a sweater, I am going to get to that, but I just haven't found the right pattern and yarn combination for him yet. But anyway, my oldest said they would like a long, skinny scarf. Now, I'm not a fan of a scarf, mostly because, I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me to make a scarf. A garter stitch scarf. I don't know. Tell me, do you all like to make scarves? It didn't sound exciting. However, making it in a circular form like this sounded more interesting to me. So what I did was, I was organizing my yarn, my inventory, because I was on my big table, and they saw this, and it's kind of like, you can really see the sparkle right now. It is blue. It's a one-of-a-kind bluish gray with a little bit of pops of color. Boy, it is really sparkly. And I really loved it too. I kind of actually set one of the skeins aside for myself. But I had made 2 skeins, and they said they liked it. And I thought, okay, I can sacrifice for you. So I pulled the skein that was in my inventory and the one that I had put in my stash already. And I'm not sure if I'm going to need 2 full skeins, but then at least I have them. If I have extra, then I can just make myself a pair of shorty socks or something like that. But I cast on, I'm using a US 2 circular needle. I think it's 12 inches, a 12-inch circular wooden from Knit Picks, wooden Caspian. And I'm just knitting. I did do a provisional cast on because I'm not sure if I want to just leave it rolled like this on the edge, in which case I will just, cast it off and just tack the inside a little bit to make it so that it doesn't open. Or if I want to Kitchener it closed. I think I'm going to ask Lucas when I get to the end and they can kind of see it, because I've noticed with people who are non-knitters, sometimes they don't know what they want because they cannot envision it, right? Like I could say, do you want a rolled edge or a straight edge? And it wouldn't make any sense because they don't really know what I'm talking about, right? So I think I'm going to make the whole thing and then ask them what they'd like. But it's super easy and simple. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to knit around and around and around. I think I'm going to put in a few like rows of purl here and there. Like I might do like 3 rows, not 3 rows in a row, but like a row and then a couple of knit and then a row and a couple of knit. And then I'll do a big long section of knitting again, just to kind of make it interesting. But I'm just going to kind of make it up as I go along. But they wanted a really long scarf that wasn't super thick, that they could wrap multiple times around their neck. So that's what I'm going for. I think this will work perfect, and it just goes way faster. It's like knitting a big sock, right? With 80 stitches, it's not that much more. It's like 16 stitches more than a sock. But yeah, perfect for that. So that is my last work in progress that I have really been working on. I just zipped that in. That's bad. That might be a solution for later. I zipped my yarn into the zipper of this bag. Oh, got it. So yeah, that is the end of my projects. As I was saying, I do really want to cast on another sweater for myself. I have this yarn that's kind of been calling to me, but I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to make yet. So I think I'm just going to focus on finishing things so then I can start a bunch of new things. And then I also have plans for my Advent kit, which is a good segue into Very Fun Yarns news. I have shipped anybody who ordered or pre-ordered a Very Fun Yarns Advent countdown kit. It has been shipped. You should have received it. If you have not, please reach out to let me know. I do have, I think, about a dozen or so left in the shop. So if you didn't get one and you still want one, they are ready to ship. All you have to do is order it and I will ship it out to you right away. Just as a reminder, the theme this year was the movie The Santa Claus from 1990 something with Tim Allen. However, it is not classic Christmas colors. So I had some people, ask me or say, oh, I wasn't interested in it this year because I'm not a big red or green fan. And it is not classic Christmas colors. It is very much dyed in my style of variegated yarn. And the reds are really more pinky red or purpley red. I can't really get a true red out of my natural dyes. So it is definitely not red and green colors. I took the inspiration by pausing the movie whenever I heard a line that really spoke to me or I thought was funny. And then I looked at the screen and I drew colors from that scene. So it might have been the background, it might have been what somebody was wearing, or, it was just whatever spoke to me in that moment of the scene. So I do have some of those available yet. Those do come with 25 20-gram mini skeins in that sparkle base that I was just showing you that I'm making that skinny scarf in. And then what else? Oh, they come with some fun goodies as well as The bag is Christmassy. I will say that. The bag is Christmassy in the Santa Claus kind of theme. And it is a medium zipper size, like the one I showed you. So you get all those things in your kit. The kit is $230 plus shipping, and the shipping is just based on your location and the weight of the kit. So I really tried hard this year to make it so that the shipping wasn't super expensive. How I packaged it, the extras that I put into it, because I know it's an investment already to buy an Advent kit, and to have to pay a ton of shipping on top sometimes makes it even harder. So those are in the shop if you're interested in that. And then only other thing is just to catch you up on life, a quick update. I have been away. I kind of alluded to this earlier. We had Concord grape season here. So I think I came to you last at the end of September when my side-by-side blanket came out. And thank you all for purchasing that pattern. That is also available on Ravelry or my website. I'll pop a picture of the blanket in here, but that is a fun blanket to knit. You can knit it with one color, you can knit it with many colors, you can knit it with scraps, and it is fingering held double. Very easy corner to corner construction with some little panels in it, and yeah, so that's there. But after that, I did put out the Twisted Together cowl the week after, and then grapes were really busy. My husband had to travel for a week for his day job. My parents did come to help us, which was nice. But in the middle of all that, I was still dealing with some health things, perimenopause related, endometriosis sort of related. But yeah, I had this uterine bleeding that never ended. It was like a daily thing that has happened for months and months and months, which has caused my anemia, which has made me very exhausted with all that stuff going on. It was kind of worse. So I just didn't feel like podcasting in the middle of all that. When I had time, I took a nap or I knit. Yeah, but in good news there, I did have a change in some of my treatment plans, and we've gotten that daily uterine bleeding to stop. At least it's been about 2.5 weeks, something like that. So that's been really good. And finally, after a month of back and forth with my practitioner and the infusion therapy department and my insurance, I finally got authorization to get some iron infusions. So next Wednesday, I start those. I have 6 infusions. I have 1 a week for 6 weeks. So I'm really hoping that will help give me more energy. And this new plan of the meds that I'm on will kind of, make me feel a lot better. So good news there, but I'm still just kind of plugging along, making what I want to make. And yeah, I'm sure I will, like I said, I did design something, but I'm just trying not to put too much pressure on myself to do too much when I'm just trying to, feel better. So anyway, that is a long story short. But yeah, I hope you are all doing well and that fall has been a good time for you if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. You've had some lovely days in beautiful fall colors. Maybe some of you got to go to Rhinebeck or some other fall fiber festival. But I'm going to wrap up because I have been talking for, I think, almost an hour, and this is going to take me a while to upload with my very slow country internet. So thanks, everybody. It has been great to chat with you, and I will hopefully see you in the not so distant future. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.